Hey everybody, it's Road to Retire. Now, normally on this channel, I talk about side hustles and side hustles that I do to try and retire early. But a big part of retiring early, or at least trying to, is paying off the house as soon as you can reasonably. So the math would say that I should pay off my house as soon as possible because I have a 5.625% interest rate, which sucks, but it'll be really hard to get returns greater than that on a consistent basis if I were to take the money instead and putting it into the stock market or something like that. So I want to talk about, I've been in this house now for about 7 to 8 months now, and we've paid over $15,000 off the loan. So let's get into how all of this happens. So I paid off over $15,000 on the house, meaning there's less than $275K left on the mortgage loan because we started out at $290,000 just at the beginning of the year. I think our first payment was either December 1st or January 1st of this year. I'm pretty sure it's December 1st. So let's go 8 months we've been in this house making payments. Now, minimum payments, because we have a $290K loan and a 5.625 interest rate. We are paying a minimum with our property tax, which kind of sucks. It's pretty high in this area. We're paying a minimum payment of $2,400 a month. Now, even though I just lost my day job, I still have my job until December 31st. I'm going through the interview process. Hopefully I'll have a new job soon. But that being said, my wife and I currently make a good income for at least relative to the area that we live in. And we can luckily afford our house pretty easily considering there's no emergencies. We don't have kids yet. And right now we're still running on our old cars. And speaking of that, my wife just got lucky enough where her engine blew out, but it was covered under warranty. So she's getting a brand new engine for free. And yeah, so it's basically like she's getting a brand new car almost. But more to the mortgage point, we are lucky enough we're in this situation where we can afford the $2,400 minimum payment and put some on top if we so feel. And in the beginning of our mortgage, I drilled in on both of our heads that we are going to pay down this mortgage as fast as possible. I had a realistic goal of like 12 to 15 years paying it off and a lofty goal of paying it off under 10 years. So starting out, I did $1,000 on top of our minimum payment. So that $1,000 would go straight into principal. And I also would put all of my side hustle money, at least 50% of it in most cases, to the house as well. So I was putting a minimum of $1,000 on top into the house. So as you can imagine, you're going to be paying off the house pretty quickly if you're doing it that way. Then halfway along, maybe around April or May, I thought it would be in our best interest because I had fears of losing my job. And I feel like we're going to at least try to have a kid sooner or later. So I thought it would be in our best interest to maybe, instead of putting that money on top of our minimum payments, putting that money into a high yield savings account. We have a good substantial chunk of money in a high yield savings account. And I figured, well, we can afford the minimum payments now pretty easily. Maybe one day, if we let this account grow, then we could just use that money down the line from the growth and pay our house off sooner anyway. Now, that's all fine and dandy, and we're getting a good return on that. However, the math doesn't really check out. Why would you put something that's going to get you 4% growth right now, and that's going to decrease when rates decrease? So probably 2%. Why would you put your money in something 2% return down the line when you could put your money on the mortgage in this instance and forego 5.625% interest payments. So since the interest payment is higher than your guaranteed return, it would make more sense to put into the house versus just saving it and trying to get returns. So what I'm doing right now is I have a hybrid situation. So currently I'm putting $150 a week of my own money into our high yield savings account. And then whatever side hustles that I do, I am going to put on the house. So I'm going to save money towards both my wife and I's future account, our nest egg, our emergency fund, whatever you want to call it. And I am also going to pay off the house simultaneously at the same time. Now, I highly doubt I'm going to be able to get to the point where my side hustle income surpasses the $150 a week. It's possible. if I keep uploading YouTube videos on a consistent basis, if Amazon influencer program keeps growing at a consistent basis, but I am running out of objects to do videos on, so I don't know how that's going to work. But nonetheless, we need to try and pay off the house as soon as possible if early retirement is a realistic thing. And also, even if you don't early retire, but the house is paid off, there's a lot more relief, I would say. Now, it still sucks that we are in a high property tax area. Just in Bumblefuck, PA, where we currently live, is just higher taxes, just because there's not too many people that live in this area. So, you're going to have to kind of make up the money somewhere for the school districts. It is what it is. I love the area and I love this house, so I plan on paying it off ASAP. So one point I want to make here is I keep saying my wife and I, my wife and I, my wife and I. If you want this dream of retiring early, or you want the dream of paying your house off early, if you're married, your significant other and you have to be on the same page, because if not, then it's just not going to work. You have to either both be career driven and you both make decent salaries where you can save on top with no issues, or if you're having one person in the relationship who makes a significant more amount of money, you have to give and take, realize what your expectations are for paying the house off early. Maybe instead of, you can't pay the house off in 20 years, maybe you can pay the house off in like 28 years instead of 30 years. Saving 2 years is still awesome. It's a very doable goal, and you're still going to save hundreds of dollars on interest. So you have to be on the same page with your significant other. And if you're single, have like-minded friends and individuals around you who have the same goal, because it's really going to inspire you to get your life in check, get the payments on the house down, completely eliminate the payments as soon as possible, and going in the right direction. Once you have that relief of no mortgage debt on you, it really is a huge relief that I cannot wait for. It feels like, right now I'm stressing because I have lost my day job, and it's like, oh my God, I'm freaking out. What if I don't? What if I can't replace this income? But if I had this house completely paid off, it's obviously not that big of a deal considering my wife works and we have a big chunk of money in our nest egg that could cover us for a very long time if need be, if the house were paid off. But the house isn't paid off. We're not even close. We have about $274,500 left on the loan. It's a 30-year loan. So we have a long ways to go, but I want to try and pay off as soon as possible. Just doing little payments on top. Even if I can only put like $50 a month on top of our normal payments, that $50 is going straight into the principal, and the compounding effect where, not necessarily compounding effect, but the effect where every single minimum payment is going to be paying more more principal than interest as you go further and further down the line and you pay more and more towards principal. That principal amount from the minimum payments is going to continue to grow, and that's how that snowball of paying the house off early eventually happens. So we paid off over $15K in a little over 7 months, and this is, I believe, the best path for my personal situation, having a 5.625% loan, of getting towards early retirement. So even though this isn't a video about side hustles, this is directly related to my channel in that I'm trying to retire early, and I'm doing the side hustles in order to pay off the house early. And, am I going to make $274K in the next 10 years from side hustles? Probably not, but you're hoping that snowball effect takes place. Maybe I'll put some of my own money towards the house along with the side hustles, along with saving in our nest egg. Who knows what the future holds, but we got to try and get that a big amount down as soon as possible, just for personal relief in case of emergencies like losing my job, and just to keep my goals of retiring early alive. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see everyone in the next one.